Hi guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you are new here, my name is Steph and I am living with bipolar disorder type 1 with a little add-on with psychotic features and mixed episodes. I started this channel in 2020 because I lived a majority of my life not on medication, undiagnosed. And it wasn't until 2017 that I was able to actually start living my life because I was put on medication, had the proper diagnosis, and was able to start learning about bipolar disorder. So I do this channel to try to help people better understand bipolar disorder and specifically to help loved ones. I hurt my family a lot in my psychosis, so I'm trying to pay back the universe. So today I want to talk about the real reason why so many people are homeless in America. And I'm going to put some statistics down below in the description box because I don't want to say the wrong numbers and spout them off. But the worst place to live for homelessness is in California. The third is Florida, and the second is New York. Part of the reason why homelessness is so bad in California is because everybody wants to come here because of the weather, and they will travel here, not make it, and end up on the street using substances or with mental health trauma. As some of you know, I have been trying to help an unhoused individual in my neighborhood who I was able to help in 2020 by getting him committed to a hospital. I have been trying to help him for months, and I can no longer find a way to get him committed to a hospital. He is in desperate need of care, and I want to tell you the experience that I have had with him. He has schizophrenia. He also has a severe substance abuse issue using methamphetamine. A lot of times people with mental health issues will have substance abuse issues. And in fact, 48% of people with schizophrenia struggle with substance abuse issues. And you can imagine why it's very hard to listen to voices yelling at you all day long. And this particular individual doesn't have family in the area that can help him. And he was okay for 5 years living with his mom. So I guess I bought him 5 years, but I was unable to help him. His mother recently passed away, and I saw him on the street again in my neighborhood. And so I texted his brother because I had his information from before, and I started trying to coordinate with his family in a way to help him. And he's living on the street. He clearly is talking to himself, clearly punching the air, clearly is not in a clear mental state. But in California, and I believe it's the rest of the United States, we have the right to refuse treatment. So unless you are actively saying, I am going to harm someone or I am going to harm myself, you cannot be put in a hospital against your will. Sometimes if you are gravely disabled, like he is, then you can be committed to a hospital. So, as I'm helping him, he'll take medication. He's med compliant. He realizes he has schizophrenia. He knows that the voices he's hearing are a result of schizophrenia. However, I took him to the hospital, got him a prescription for medication. Dropped him off at the emergency room. He went in, waited there in the emergency room, got a prescription for medication. I took him to the pharmacy so he could pick up his medication, which took forever and was a huge ordeal because he has government insurance. And after that, he lost his pills. So I took him to the emergency room again, hoping that they would commit him. What they're supposed to do is put someone in that state on a 72-hour hold and make sure that they are going to be safe in the community when they get out. And he is not currently safe. His life is at risk on a daily basis because he is not in reality and he's using substances. So I took him to the emergency room a second time. And once again, they gave him a prescription for pills and released him. They did not commit him. Again, he's sitting in the emergency room talking to himself, punching the air, clearly out of his mind. Clearly not someone who can take care of themselves at the moment. But And I don't know if it has anything to do with race, but he is a Black man in his 40s who uses substances. So they released him again. And with a new prescription for medication, which I took him to the pharmacy again. And again, it was a huge ordeal because he had lost his medication the first time. And this was before the 30 days of getting his medication refilled. So we had to call his insurance and deal with the pharmacy for hours. And again, he loses his medication. Oh, actually, no. The second time, he didn't lose his medication. I kept it. And I distributed it to him on a daily basis. He came over to my house. I'd cook him a meal. I'd let him call his family and send him on his way. I bought him packs of cigarettes. I reached out to his family for how to help him. They sent him some cash. I used that to get him food and cigarettes. And at this point, I really don't know what to do. I've tried to get him hospitalized twice. It hasn't worked. I even called the crisis emergency team in Long Beach, and they were unavailable. The non-emergency line sent a police officer out. The police officer had a 5-minute conversation with him where he was still clearly talking to himself. And the police officer says, there's nothing I can do. He's not 5150. He's not claiming to hurt someone. He's not hurting himself. He has a bottle of water and I can't do anything. So call the crisis team. So I didn't know what to do, couldn't do anything. And so this last time, once he'd been on his medication, he started to come back a little bit. But because he continued to use meth, he was still experiencing severe symptoms. He is an addict. And so again, yesterday, I took him to the Homeless Services Center. I had called previously to a place called Rhodes and set him up to get the Resperadone shot, which is extended release, and it will help somebody with symptoms for schizophrenia because it releases slowly, and so there's a constant flow of medication in your bloodstream. They don't give this at the emergency room, even though an individual is homeless, even though they know that homeless individuals lose things or get stolen things all the time, they kept prescribing him pills. So yesterday, after I took him to the Homeless Services Center, which by the way was like a third world country, I couldn't even leave my car unattended. My husband had to sit in there because there's tires in the parking lot that have been taken off cars. And I took him there, and guess what? The Homeless Services Center does not have a mental health department. So they referred us to the Behavioral Health Urgent Care Department. So I drive him over to the behavioral health place, drop him off. They tell me he's going to be here. It's going to be a 3 to 4 hour process. We'll have him see a therapist. We'll have him see the psychiatric nurse, and then we'll give him resources. And so I said, okay. They also have the ability to commit him. So after 3 to 4 hours, probably around 3.5 hours, of him talking to himself, and not just talking to himself briefly, talking to himself the entire time, talking to the guy, which is a voice in his head that harasses him on a daily basis. They, once again, give him a prescription for pills and send him home with a novel. Look how thick that is. A novel of paperwork, which is completely useless because somebody who is talking to themselves, not in their right mind, not living in reality, cannot do this. They can't go through this entire packet of medical health benefits. And we all know this isn't going to last very long with the new plans in under this administration. A bunch of useless paperwork, useless employment resources. This guy needs to be put on disability. I mean, Department of Mental Health, referral lists, like just an abundance of information that is overwhelming for me that I couldn't even go through. Oh, and this, by the way, this is the company that I called previously, Rhodes. I called them to try to get him an appointment for the shot and had an appointment set up. And then they called back and said, we don't take his insurance. So once again, this individual is on the street, homeless, has been for months, and I because of my own health, because of my own codependency issues, I cannot help him anymore. And I told him today, I gave him the last pack of cigarettes that I had for him because I know he's trading them for meth. And I said, I cannot help you anymore until you go to rehab. And he said, well, I'm never doing that. And I said, okay, well, I'll see you. Have a nice life. My husband said, you're going to die on the street, because there is a very high probability that that's what's going to happen to him. He is a very innocent individual who does not steal, who is kind, and these kinds of people with mental health issues like this are a target for people with ill intentions. We had a person a couple months ago who went to sleep in the middle of the street on Ocean Boulevard and was run over 3 times and died. He walks across the street without even looking both ways. He is at risk and in danger, and he is going to be on the street until he dies, unless something happens, unless someone intervenes, unless something comes good out of this ridiculous Trump plan to deal with homeless people, which maybe the guy will be good for something. I have no idea. I doubt it. He's a horrible man with no soul. You don't need to hear my political beliefs, but that's how I feel. He affects people disproportionately in the mental health community because of his cancellation or cutting back on Medicare, Medicaid. Horrible. Don't even get me started. But this was the situation. This is why we have so many homeless people on the street. And I think it's 76% of people who are homeless have reported issues with mental health problems or substance abuse issues. And those are only the people that have reported it. So that's why we have such a chronic homelessness problem in the United States. There are countries in the world that have no homeless, because if they're on the street, they will be hospitalized and taken care of. So it was heartbreaking for me. I was devastated. I had to text his family and say, I can't help him anymore. He's refusing to go to rehab. There's nothing I can do. And it breaks my heart. It is so frustrating because, as some of you know, I was run over by a car after wandering the streets for a year, and I almost died. I know how hard it is, and it is just completely devastating. So I don't know what's going to happen with the homeless population under this current administration. I doubt it's anything good. I believe it's going to be back to institutionalizing people in the 70s, where people with ill intentions will take advantage of their patients and experiment on them, and who knows what else, keep people who don't belong there. I don't know. But this is the problem. There are parts of the world there are states in the United States who are having success with programs getting people into apartments. But I'm going to see if I can find that video. I'm going to put a link in the description. I will put a link to some other videos that might help you understand bipolar disorder or schizophrenia, other psychotic illnesses, for you to check out. And I hope that this video, at the very least, has given you a little bit more compassion in your heart if you do feel sad about people with mental illness, or if you feel angry with people who are experiencing homelessness. I hope this video has helped you better understand. I hope this video has helped you better understand how families struggle trying to get someone they love help. Excuse me. I get emotional. But anyways, that's where I'm at. That was the last several months, and I hope you guys have an awesome day. Please put your comments below if you have any questions, and I will see you next time. Bye.